minus 9 minutes. Minus 8 minutes. Minus 7 minutes. Minus 6 minutes. Minus 5 minutes. minus 3 minutes. T minus 2 minutes. T minus 1 minute. Stand by.
How about that?
We welcome all the viewers and listeners from all across the land. It's the RP Show on a Thursday. We got a fortune teller with us here today, Kevin the Medium, coming up from the Hughes Sports Podcast in seconds. In hour two, a very special guest. Not that Kevin isn't, but we haven't chatted with Jim Lang in a while, Canada's foremost NFL expert. Jim Clubber Lang, my longtime friend from Toronto, former voice of the Argos and the author of many leather-bound books. And he's a longtime Oakland Raiders, Las Vegas Raiders fan as well. The Raiders are home tonight to the San Francisco 49ers as the Week 3 in the NFL kicks off. Kevin the Medium's here. Hey, Kev, who you picking to win Sunday? BC and Ottawa, as I look at you out there in God's country, or wherever the hell you are. Welcome.
Who do you think I'm picking? I picked the same team, except for 1 week. I've picked the same team every week in this when my Lions are playing.
You look very angelic out there. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to chatting with Kevin the Medium. Let's quit Mickey Mousing and get down to business. This is the warm-up. It's brought to you by our friends at Uniglobe Carefree Travel. Point one, I opened with this for all our viewers across the land, because while we all cheer for different football and hockey teams, we all cheer for the Blue Jays. And Toronto's Nathan Lucas hit a 3-run homer and 7 pitchers combined on a 6-hit shutout as Toronto remained 3 games behind Cleveland in the race for the final American League wildcard spot. I bring it up because I know Kevin would have been watching it last night. Am I right?
You are correct. And I actually almost jumped out of my seat when Lucas hit that home run. That was well-timed, well-needed. It was we needed that win.
Well, let me ask you this, because I was on the radio in Edmonton last week, and they had the poll question. It was fun. It was fun. They said, "Where are you on the Blue Jays bandwagon? Are you on? Are you off? Were you on, then off, then on? Which of those three are you? Which are you?" I was C. Yeah, I think C.
I'm on. I've been watching the Blue Jays all season.
Yeah, you have.
Through all the tough times this season where it was just so brutal. Now they've come on the last 30 games now that they've really kicked it in, 25 games, and they've fallen off a little bit. They're 3 games back. Still, I mean, if you look at the remaining of games, they don't play a team over 500. They play teams below them the rest of the season. They have a good a shot as any of the 4 teams vying for that final playoff position to do it. It's just a matter of, can they get the bats going? Defensively, I don't think they're playing that bad. Offensively, they need to get the bats going on a regular basis. And we could have some excitement in October again, which would be
Well, I'll tell
really
you what.
cool.
Yeah, well, they've won 17 of their last 28. The series closes tonight. It's a night game against the Kansas City Royals. And I'll be honest with you, all you can ask is to be in contention this late.
Yes.
Baseball is a very difficult postseason to make. And yeah, it's fun to turn on the games. As you know, it's interesting because we see all the bitching of the NHL broadcast, the CFL broadcast, the NFL broadcast, but you never hear anybody bitching about Blue Jays broadcasts. You notice that?
Yes,
They're
and
so
I love
good.
the Blue Jay podcast. The two, I don't know who they are. I couldn't name them if you asked me to, but they are so good. I just love the
Yeah.
chemistry they have together. They tell a great story. You can tell the color guy played the game and knows the game intimately, and it's fun to listen to him.
Yeah, I love the Jays. I love the Jays games. Okay, so there you go, Jays fans. I'll say this: the Quick Six Show Topics brought to you by Uniglobe Carefree Travel. They're offering the CFLPA fan cruise. Did you see Willie Jefferson was on his Instagram yesterday promoting it? Willie Jefferson, Adam Bighill, Jake Ceresno will be on that CFLPA cruise of a lifetime, 7-day cruise out of Fort Lauderdale. Less than a month now, folks. You've been thinking about it. Nobody's paying attention in the summer. Well, guess what? You have less than a month to secure your cabin. Kevin, the medium, already has. Contact Neil at Uniglobe Travel. Neil at uniglobecarefree.ca. He's watching right now in Vancouver. Help the guy out. Help a brother out. Okay. We might as well jump right to this. We did not do Canada's Game of the Week for the poll yesterday because we had to recognize Dolly Parton. Every Wednesday, we do Canada's Game of the Week. But we scrapped that. We voted for what was the greatest Dolly Parton song of all time. What would you have voted for, Kev? What would you have? Or maybe you did vote.
I didn't, but I would probably vote for either 9 to 5 or Jolene, and I'm going to say Jolene. I just love that song.
Jolene
Dolly's
won. Yeah, go ahead.
Yes. Dolly's always been that personification of country music to me. Pure, innocent, and just a beautiful soul. When I heard she passed, I'm not going to lie, there was some tears in my eyes. I was like, son of a gun, 80 years old, looked 30, and she was the first one to admit, I'll continue to look 30 as long as there's good plastic surgeons.
Oh, yeah, she's very authentic. Yeah. Well, Jolene won I voted for 9 to 5. Today's poll now is what's Canada's Game of the Week? And if I can look at this without green goggles or any of the goggles, it might be Montreal at Winnipeg Friday night. And shout out all the Winnipeg viewers who are tuned in and tell me that they do out there in Bomberland. That's a huge game. And we've got a lot of yeah, go ahead.
It's a big game. Yeah, it's a big game, but does Winnipeg really have a chance of even showing up in that game? Montreal is just so good right now and have been so good all season. I did choose that game. It's funny you said that because I did choose that game because I looked at them and went, none of them. How about none of the above? Because none of them are that intriguing this week.
Well, I wouldn't go that far. I don't know, man. I'm really loving my BC Lions. It's hard not to, Kev. How jealous were you of the week? Let's just tell I know how jealous you are. Tell the viewers how jealous you are. The wonderful weekend I had up there in Vancouver. I'm sorry, man. Somewhat sorry.
No, you're not. I I literally was following your whole weekend. And the one that got me was when you posted that you were out at the practice facility out in Surrey on the Saturday, and you posted a picture with Nathan. And I was like, I interviewed Nathan. I know how nice of a guy he is. He's just a nice kid. And I was like, son of a... that could have been me with you. But yeah, it was fun to watch, and I'm glad you had the experience.
Yeah, next time. He is a nice kid. And here's the thing. I just feel like if people knew these personalities, it would be a lot more fun. I mean, we don't know Connor McDavid, but we feel like we know Connor McDavid. You know, and Nathan Rourke, if you do know him, you'd cheer for him. You know what I mean? But anyways, We're up against it for our first time out. We'll take a break and come back with more loads of CFL talk and also NFL notes, NHL, Little League World Series. We had a full day here today. Poll question, vote on it. What's Canada's game of the week? How are we doing on time, Producer Corey? Because we're having the issue here today. Yeah. We'll be right back on the RP show after this.
In today's fast-paced world, we know you don't always have time to cook a nutritious meal. The Mad Greek in Moose Jaw's got you covered with delicious takeout and delivery specials, even for large groups or occasions. Authentic Greek cuisine, pizza, ribs, and more. There's something for everyone to enjoy. Offering licensed dining, delivery, and their takeout window is open to get your Greek to go. For more information and to view the online menu, visit themadgreekeatery.com.
Looking for a new ride without the big city pressure? Come to Western Dodge in Moose Jaw, where you'll find an unbeatable lineup of Ram trucks, Jeep SUVs, Dodge Muscle, and Chrysler family rides. With knowledgeable staff, great prices, and that friendly Moose Jaw touch, you'll drive away with confidence. Western Dodge. Big selection, small town service. Visit us today or browse online at westerndodge.ca.
Do you worry about how much someone drinks?
Do you feel angry or depressed most of the time? Do you feel neglected or unloved?
Do you feel that if the drinker loved you, she or he would stop drinking?
If you answered yes to any of these questions, you are not alone.
Not everyone trapped by alcohol is an alcoholic.
Families and friends are suffering too.
Al-Anon
and Alateen can help. Call 1-866-200-0223 or visit alanon.org/help.
In today's fast-paced world, we know you don't always have time to cook a nutritious meal. The Mad Greek in Moose Jaw's got you covered with delicious takeout and delivery specials, even for large groups or occasions. Authentic Greek cuisine, pizza, ribs, and more. There's something for everyone to enjoy. Offering licensed dining, delivery, and their takeout window is open to get your Greek to go. For more information and to view the online menu, visit themadgreekeatery.com.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Ultimate Fan Zone, taking our show on the road coast to coast. Shop online, ultimatefanzone.ca. Slick, user-friendly. We built this site for the die-hard sports fans. Jerseys, hats, team apparel, offering officially licensed fan gear from the best lines in sports. Nike, New Era, Adidas, Fanatics. Game day ready to your door. Now, just a click away, ultimatefanzone.ca, or check us out on Facebook and Instagram. UFZ Downtown Moose Jaw, home of everything authentic.
You have a vision, a big idea, but how do you turn ambition into absolute impact? It starts with connection. Booking top-tier speakers and executing seamless events, that's the EMJ difference. We position your brand where it belongs, Guy, through powerful advertising, strategic media, and promotion that drives results.
At EMJ Marketing, we don't just promote, we partner. Your growth, our mission.
All right, welcome back, everybody. Some quick comments from the viewers. Jeff, the Stamps fan, says, it looks like the city of Calgary is getting serious about a football stadium. Vancouver Eric says, East versus West, week in the CFL. Tough decision on game of the week. Cardinal Ryan checks in from upstate New York. He says, good day, Rod Squad. I hope everyone's having a great day. Vintage Sasko says, belated mad props to the iconic Full House Hughes on the win last weekend over the Riders. That's for your BC Lions. Darren in Melford says, it's looking bleak, but go Jays. Rich from Edmonton says, Scruffy was bitching about the Blue Jays yesterday. Scruffy's always bitching about something. And Ken from Mississauga says, so the rumor is that Ottawa will try and sign Chad Kelly if his contract expires, that this is partly why the Argos signed quarterback Paxton DeLaurent, who was the star in the IFL in 2026. Okay, so that's what they're here for today, is a lot of CFL talk. I got a little upset on a podcast the other day out of Florida, a Panthers podcast, because they were talking about, they say John Cooper almost went to Utah. They say Ottawa wants Chad Kelly. Can you get out of here with that crap? I don't have time for. I hate it. Can we talk about what's actually in front of our face? But do you like that stuff? I feel like your son loves it, but you don't.
Oh yeah. As soon as you said it, our podcast last night, Jake sent me this article about some guy who wrote about how EP40 was a next Ovi. And I was like, stop. Like, how can you compare those two people right now? Well, if you look at the stats and you look at, oh my goodness, how about you wait till he's actually putting up numbers like an Ovechkin, then we can talk about it. Till then, shut up with your, he could be, we're going to do, no.
Oh,
it's 10:15. Concentrate on 10:15.
Right. Yeah. And by the way, I do have a whole bunch of CFL stuff here that's great, but I'll say this about your hometown. Kev's from East Vancouver. I sat with a longtime newspaper guy out there, really good friend of mine, and we talked about coverage of the BC Lions. He loves the Lions. The media all loves the Lions, but they feel like they have to give people what they want, and they have limited resources. And he's like, my God, EP, Elias Pettersson's been traded 50 times. But our editors want us to talk about that rather than the Lions. He goes, that pisses me off. He's like, at least I'm here today, but they just don't have the resources that they used to have, and they feel like everybody wants to talk about the Canucks. But I will say this: there was 32,000. I think it was 30,083 was the announced attendance, I think, at the game the other day. So I'm like, these people are all hearing about the Lions, and a lot of them are Rider fans. But they're getting their news somewhere. It's just not from the newspaper. Maybe it shows like this. So enough about the media. Can I read you some of the game notes? Not all of the game notes have come out, but here are some, Kevin. Let me read them to you. Number one, the Eskimos took no penalties last week. None. They didn't take a penalty. The last team to do that was 2013. The average passing yards in a game, both teams combined, average 601 yards. It's the second highest total in CFL history. The only year higher was 1993. Ottawa's 16-game losing streak is the longest since 1949. I'll add that home teams are 11-1 in the last 3 weeks. Davis Alexander's start of 20-1 in his career, 20 wins and 1 loss. Best ever in the CFL. The very best, Jackie Parker went 19-2 from 1954 to 1956. So there's some historic things going on this year, and people say this is the best year ever. Maybe it was. Maybe it is.
I mean, if you're a stats guy, it has to be. I look at that 20-1 record of Alexander. Is that the best start for any quarterback in history? NFL, CFL, doesn't matter. I mean, this kid, how he's not getting more interest from the NFL amazes me.
Well, that's a not yet. I feel like he might. You know, there's still guys that are going back and forth between the two leagues, but he sure is fun to watch. Well, and here's another one that I didn't write down. I saw it late. The CFL just issued a statement, not like a news release, that Montreal can clinch a home playoff game Friday night with a win at Winnipeg. I'm like, what? That didn't take long.
I saw that, and I had to go and look, and I was like, No, that's got to be wrong. No, they win. They're in. They're that good.
Part of and Ottawa's that bad.
Okay.
you know what? But it's just math. But I mean,
yes.
But you got to be careful though, because if you remember a few years ago, Chad Kelly, when he burst onto the scene, they clinched by Labor Day, the Argos.
Yeah,
and they didn't even get to the Grey Cup. So, you know what I'm saying?
When you're coasting and you're not playing a meaningful game for 5, 6, 7 weeks, it's got to affect you because you don't have that as competitive juices flowing. Where you're looking at the West, every single game from now until the end of the season is going to mean something. They're that important. There's no off weeks. You have to win, or else you're going to drop down in them with standings. And do you want to be that last ever crossover team in the history of the CFL? Do you want that title? Probably not.
What do you mean? What's the title?
The last ever crossover team. This is the last year of the crossover. With the new playoff structure, we'll never have a crossover again.
I never thought about that. about that.
This brain keeps going.
Well, yeah, for sure. Well, you know me. One day at a time, like I'm not thinking about what the ramifications are next year. So I get that. But I mean, they just want to make the playoffs. I don't think guys care. I've been with multiple crossover teams. We didn't care. It's better to be a crossover team than not in the playoffs at all. And what's coming next year, I don't want to go there today. We got a whole winter to get to that because it's not going to be good in terms of the public. It's not good now. People have kind of they're asleep on it. Just let them sleep because the games have been so great. And we've got some good divisional races. And you don't want to finish last place in the West. Because Scruffy was saying the other day, he picked Calgary for last. Who did you have for last in the West? Do you remember going into the year?
I want to say I had Edmonton, and it was going to be close between Edmonton and Calgary. Shows you what I know.
Well, I thought Edmonton was going to be better. I didn't think they'd be this good. I mean, I skimmed past this, but no penalties in a game hasn't happened in 13 years. At what point does Mark Killam get a lot of credit? Because, you and I talked about this off the air. You knew he was going to be good, but they're in first place doing historic things, and they're not getting any credit at all for it.
It's insane how good. Jake asked me last night, is Edmonton as good as their record shows?
Yeah.
And I'm like, yeah, they are. They're that good this year. Are they at the same level as a Montreal? Probably not. But they are that good this year. They are playing all aspects of the game almost better than any. Well, not almost. They're playing their game better than any other team in the West, obviously.
What's interesting when you say that is I've thought about this a lot, primarily in the CFL, but all leagues. When a rebuild takes as long as Edmonton has versus Montreal did a rebuild, people forget they fired everybody. And they hired Danny Machocha and brought in Jason Maas. And I was against them getting rid of Kahari Jones, but it was just a mini rebuild. It was, a tiny little pimple, whereas Edmonton was a cavernous crater of a dumpster fire. That's all. And listen, I'm not going to sit here and say Chris Jones wasn't a huge part of that. I mean, I don't know. I was, this yourself in the other career that you do. Kevin the Medium's with us from the Hughes Sports Podcast. People always, they don't want to look back. And I'm like, no, you need to look back to understand what happened, or else history will repeat itself. Now, I don't care what went on in Edmonton. What I know was really bad. From the name change to various personnel decisions by Jones and hirings, it just was all bad. They need to examine that. But at least they're on good footing now. But my point is, it's just taken a real long time to rebuild. And other teams, you know what I'm saying? And hockey, your Canucks, which I actually have something here we'll get to after the break, but I don't know how long it's going to take, if ever, bro. How much time do you think about the Canucks?
Oh, obviously, I think about the Canucks on a daily basis. I'm the biggest Canuck fan. It's or I was born into it. It's in my veins. I can't help it. And our joke in our family is we don't have a lot of time left. We want just once. We want to be able to see a Canuck raise that holy grail. Will we? I don't know. Gosh dang, I hope I do, but I'm 60, going on 62. I don't got lots of years left. Is it going to do it in the next 20 years? Oh gosh.
What did you tell me yesterday? Don't wait. Go live your life. Vintage Sasko writes in on the standings thing. He says, this is also the last year with West and East finals. Kind of cray-cray if you think about it. Let's not get there yet, okay? Vancouver Eric says, Mark Killam and Buck Pierce, both new head coaches of the league. Who's done better? I'll remind you, nobody's won diddly squat yet. Okay, but go ahead.
I think Killam has taken a team that was disastrous and has turned it around. But you got to go back even further. I think that team turned around when it went from community ownership to single ownership. You had a committee trying to run a team. It doesn't work. If anybody's ever been on a committee before, you know how disastrous it could be. So that had, I think, a lot to do with it. But bringing Killam in, I mean, I watched Killam on the bench. I used to sit 3 rows up, 55-yard line in McMahon, and I would watch the bench. And Killam, you could tell, was a player's coach. They liked him. They sought him out when they came off the field. He was that type of guy. So when they promoted him up in Edmonton, I went, oh, watch out. This team's going to turn it around. And sure enough,
for sure. I think we all felt that way. Wayne in Victoria, BC writes in on the text line 902-518-3033 for Western Dodge. He says, I thank God for your show, Rod. I look forward to it every day. Thank you, Wayne. I appreciate that. And he says, I'm looking forward to hearing from Jim Lang. He's great. Kirk in Toronto says, hey, Rod, Trump claims, I love French Canadians. Kirk, please don't do that. I've asked you, I don't know how many times, and it's my fault. I mean, I don't need to read it, but it's like any time we bring him up, it's just a dry patch on the ski hill. Like, just everybody gets upset. It upsets the apple cart. So what I say yesterday, ignore him. But you can't. Yeah, you can't. So, yeah. How are we doing on time, Producer Corey? Please let me know. I feel like we're breaking here right away. I can. (902-518-3033) is the Western Dodge text line. And as we know, from trucks to SUVs, Western Dodge has what you're looking for. Visit their showroom or online at westerndodge.ca. Also, Kev, yeah, I feel like I will push the more of the hockey talk after the break. We won't get into the NFL with you. Arlen Bruce checks in. He says, great day, RP and Kev. Do you fellas think the NFL will give each team a max of 3 to 4 blitzes during the games because of safety reasons? No. Absolutely do not think they will do that. Jason in Red Deer says, Edmonton has been on fire since getting rid of all the Elks branding and logos on their uniforms. Just saying. It's funny because people are talking about that low-key, that you don't hear the name Elks around there. We'll talk about that more when we come back. It's the RP Show, Game Plus streaming, YouTube Live, podcast, and WQVZ.
Ultimate Fan Zone, taking our show on the road coast to coast. Shop online, ultimatefanzone.ca. Slick, user-friendly, we built this site for the die-hard sports fans. Jerseys, hats, team apparel, offering officially licensed fan gear from the best lines in sports. Nike, New Era, Adidas, Fanatics, game day ready to your door. Now, just a click away, ultimatefanzone.ca, or check us out on Facebook and Instagram. UFZ Downtown Moose Jaw, home of everything authentic.
In today's fast-paced world, we know you don't always have time to cook a nutritious meal. The Mad Greek in Moose Jaw's got you covered with delicious takeout and delivery specials, even for large groups or occasions. Authentic Greek cuisine, pizza, ribs, and more. There's something for everyone to enjoy. Offering licensed dining, delivery, and their takeout window is open to get your Greek to go. For more information and to view the online menu, visit themadgreekeatery.com.
Dean, Brody, and the Recklaws teaming up for the Hometown Heroes Tour.
If there's work, you know I'm gonna work.
Live at Temple Garden Center, November 9th.
Can't blame nobody else. I can't help myself.
Two of Canada's biggest country acts. One stage, one unforgettable night on the Hometown Heroes Tour. Tickets on sale now at the Temple Garden Center box office or online at sasktix.ca.
In today's fast-paced world, we know you don't always have time to cook a nutritious meal. The Mad Greek in Moose Jaw's got you covered with delicious takeout and delivery specials, even for large groups or occasions. Authentic Greek cuisine, pizza, ribs, and more. There's something for everyone to enjoy. Offering licensed dining, delivery, and their takeout window is open to get your Greek to go. For more information and to view the online menu, visit themadgreekeatery.com.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Hiring a video company shouldn't be complicated. Click, pay, done. Skycron.com/Regina.
Sports fans, daytime sports talk gets a whole lot better weekdays at noon Eastern with the Rod Pedersen Show. Talking sports daily with A-list guests, and the best part is, you can always join the discussion as we're the most interactive talk show on television. Broadcasting from coast to coast from the biggest events like Super Bowl, Stanley Cup Final, Grey Cup, and more, there's nothing like it in the game today. The Rod Pedersen Show, daily at noon Eastern and 10 p.m. Pacific on Game Plus Network.
Okay, welcome back, everybody. One more segment with Kevin the Medium. He's a big CFL guy. We're in the middle of CFL season, so let's stay on the CFL train. I'll hold on to the comments from the viewers. There's a lot, but I'll wait until after Kevin's gone. The picks we do every day, we do them every day, for Pump Jack's Steakhouse and Saloon, Pump Jack's Cathedral, Pump Jack's Weyburn. Come early, stay late at the place where friends meet. Scruffy and I did ours the other day. You can go read him at rodpedersen.com. We haven't got Kevin the Mediums from the Hughes Sports Podcast. I'm assuming you dropped him last night. Montreal at Winnipeg, you pretty much let that out of the bag. You got the Alouettes to win Friday, right?
I've got the Alouettes to win that one.
Hamilton at Calgary.
I'm taking the Stamps with the caveat that it's going to be a lot closer than a lot of people think.
Toronto at Saskatchewan in a rematch of the 1997 Grey Cup.
Taking the Riders, and I'm terrified of it. I think this one might burn me.
And BC at Ottawa, which, interestingly, I had to go to ChatGPT to confirm this. I had an inkling. It has never been a match in the Grey Cup. BC at Ottawa, and pretty sure it ain't happening this year. BC at Ottawa is the only combination that's never happened in Grey Cup history. You pick BC. They'd be playing God, and you would pick God and the 12 disciples, you'd be picking the Lions. So I'm assuming you are here. But what about the pressure? Somebody wrote in here about pressure on the Lions. I'm like, there's no pressure on the Lions. You go there,
No.
and any quality coach is going to say, you guys know what them say. Just do what you do, and you'll win. You'll be fine.
Yes. And people are, and I said it last night, it could be a trap game if the Lions go in thinking, oh, well, we got this. We don't have to even try. But if you heard Nathan Rourke's interview after the game last week, he's like, we're not good enough. We're not even close to good enough on offense. We need to really shore things up and play better. And I was like, wow, that's the kind of talk you want to hear. That's what's going to take us to that 5-0, 6-0, 7-0, which is what we need to do. We got to keep winning. So, and it's that, Ottawa, an easier game, but after that, it doesn't get any easier for us.
Eric from Mason Neck, Virginia checks in. Hello. He says, checking in, love the football talk. That's what we're doing here. And I guess while we're at it, because we don't have Kev for a whole lot more, two things coming up. More talk about a football stadium in Calgary. I just they get so pissed off in Calgary when I drop what I hear. They do. It's not good. But can I just say that I heard they're going to implode the Saddle Dome and build a football stadium there? Can I say that from pretty well-placed sources? You lived there for 20 years. What are you hearing out of there?
I heard the same thing. Jake and I talked about this new stadium. There was a reporter who reported it, and it kind of got buried, but it was exactly what they're talking about, building it within the whole Stampede grounds with the new what do they call that? For the grandstands for the Stampede. So this has been talked about for about a year now. Now it's starting to pick up some steam, and usually when you see smoke, there's fire.
GMC Stadium is the one that you're talking about. I love them. I don't think they can put a football stadium in there. I don't think it's big enough, but it's pretty awesome. So that's one thing. I don't know. You want, like, folks, I know you don't get it because you don't live in the media. Kevin dabbles in it. Guys and gals in the media are running around looking over their shoulder, afraid to say anything because you say the one wrong. You said it got buried. Why do you think that happened? Probably because it's true. And somebody from CSEC got a hold of the reporter and said, like, I've got 1 million times. Like, that's the one thing that I loved about the BC Lions. And I'm not lying. They said it was like the Vegas vacation movie. Take all the damn pictures you want. They got nothing to hide.
Right.
That's one thing about the BC Lions. They said, go wherever you want. Talk to whoever you want. And I did. As you saw, they got nothing to hide. I'm not saying CSEC or a lot of places other do. But it's like, if this is what you're going to do, what's the harm of saying it? I don't know.
It doesn't make sense. Why not? Even if you're considering it, even if it's in its preliminary stages, talk about it, because you know what it does? It creates excitement.
Jeff, a Stamps fan, says, have you listened to interviews of the head of the Stampede? That's never been discussed. Hey, Jeff, talk to a girl sometime. Boys lie. You believe everything you're told. That's awesome. That's what they want. What else are you saying, Kev? Sorry.
Well, he says it's never been discussed. The reporter literally saw the drawing. Unless the reporter is making this up. Come on.
That's why, Benefield wrote me yesterday after the show about how great a time he had on there. And I think I told you this. Benefield goes, you are exactly where you need to be in the media landscape. And I don't think we're hurting anybody with what we talk about or report here, because I can't go. What did Don Cherry say when he left Sportsnet? If they want a robot, I can't be that. And I can't either. Like Virginia Eric says, most media can't report anything until they are told to report it. And I don't know. And it is true. It is true. And, and that was the thing with the Lions. They didn't care. They're like, talk to whoever you want. Take whatever photos you want, because not every team runs that way. That's all that I'll say. Another thing with the Argos, by the way, because you watch all the games. I know we got to go run here right away, but Chad Kelly, have you seen a bigger Jekyll and Hyde quarterback than this guy?
No. Not at all. It's just like, holy, you don't know which version you're going to get from, not only from game to game, but from a literal series to series within the game. It's bizarre to watch. And I've been watching him closely because I saw him earlier in the season, and I thought when he was throwing the ball, his motion was weird. He was more pushing the ball than throwing it. And when he's doing that, that's where the interceptions are coming in. And I don't know if he's hurt, if he's hiding an injury, if he's playing through, as we used to call it, an injury. There's something, and I want to say lower back. There's something there that's just not sitting right, and I think it's going to come out. I think you're going to hear that he's going to have to sit for a while because he's just not what he's.
Well,
you know what he's capable of, and he doesn't do it all the time.
Virginia Eric says roller coaster Chad. That's what he is. But, folks, I mean, I listened to the interviews, and I wonder if people hear the same things I hear. When Dinwiddie was coaching him in Toronto, he said, we haven't seen quarterback play in this league for years like we're seeing from Chad Kelly. And the second Dinwiddie said that, I'm like, okay, then this guy's got it. So for the people that want to sit and nitpick every little thing that he does, I understand why you would want to do that. I understand why you're worried about the interceptions. But Chad Kelly, when healthy, is the best quarterback this league has seen. He really is. He's been the league MVP. I mean, who won the MVP of the league? Nathan Rourke won last year. Davis Alexander's got the better stats. You know, they're not propping him up as the greatest quarterback of all time. Statistically, he is Davis Alexander. But it's just, man,
I get why, he is.
Right, and I get why the league would not want to purport Chad Kelly as all that. We all get that.
Yes.
Vancouver Eric says Chad Kelly is the modern-day Henry Burris. I would say he's close. He's got the gun. Like, there aren't a lot of quarterbacks where there are no dead spots on the field. Well, there are a lot of quarterbacks where there's dead spots on the field. There's none with Chad Kelly, and there was none with Henry Burris. He could get the ball anywhere.
Yes.
Yeah.
I was watching the Saskatchewan game, and I compared Harris to Burris because he can dissect a defense. Unbelievable. He didn't get to against the Lions. The Lions shut him down. I don't know what the Lions saw or what they adjusted to, but they just didn't allow it. But Harris is like that as well when he's on his best.
I feel like we're going to be taking a break here shortly, Kev. So thank you. I will see you on the weekend. Fantastic job, my friend. The Hughes Sports Podcast. Yes. Tomorrow. I forgot what day it was. Missing a day really, really threw me off. We'll get to all your questions and comments when we come back. How are we doing on time here, Producer Corey? Yeah, I got you. Thank you for that. Well, we addressed the new stadium in Calgary, John from Edmonton, so I don't know. I thought you'd been with us the whole time, but we addressed that earlier, so rewind. And we've got a lot of comments from our viewers that we'll get to, plus a sports update, viewer takeover the rest of the way, and Jim Lang coming up in the next segment. It is the RP Show, Silver State Sports, Game Plus streaming, podcast, and WQVZ Radio.
Sports fans, daytime sports talk gets a whole lot better weekdays at noon Eastern with the Rod Pedersen Show. Talking sports daily with A-list guests, and the best part is you can always join the discussion as we're the most interactive talk show on television. Broadcasting from coast to coast from the biggest events like Super Bowl, Stanley Cup Final, Grey Cup, and more. There's nothing like it in the game today. The Rod Pedersen Show, daily at noon Eastern and 10 p.m. Pacific on Game Plus Network.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Sports fans, daytime sports talk gets a whole lot better weekdays at noon Eastern with the Rod Pedersen Show. Talking sports daily with A-list guests, and the best part is, you can always join the discussion as we're the most interactive talk show on television. Broadcasting from coast to coast from the biggest events like Super Bowl, Stanley Cup Final, Grey Cup, and more, there's nothing like it in the game today. The Rod Pedersen Show, daily at noon Eastern and 10 p.m. Pacific on Game Plus Network.
This is a test pattern. This is what happens when your video company screws up. You don't want your clients to see a screw up. Hire a company that only does video, so it won't screw up. Then, people who give you money will see less of these and more of you. Skycron.com/live.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
You have a vision, a big idea. But how do you turn ambition into absolute impact? It starts with connection. Booking top-tier speakers and executing seamless events. That's the EMJ difference.
We position your brand where it belongs, Guy, through powerful advertising, strategic media, and promotion that drives results. At EMJ Marketing, we don't just promote, we partner. Your growth, our mission.
Hiring a video company shouldn't be complicated. Click, pay, done. Skycron.com/Regina.
Okay, welcome back, everybody. As I said, Kevin the Medium, fantastic chat with him. He will be back tomorrow on a Football Friday. I can't tell you how much missing Tuesday screwed up my time. Everybody's, yeah. It was a wonderful time in Vancouver. Flying home, not so wonderful. 902-518-3033. I'm enjoying the discussion. Wherever you're tuned in from today, let me know, please. 902-518-3033. I'll say it for the benefit of those that weren't tuned in yesterday. The one thing I've learned over the last week is how much this show means to a lot of people outside of Saskatchewan. I know it means to a lot to people here in Saskatchewan, but outside, it's been a really great week that way, so thank you. Noni writes in, Western Dodge text line. Morning, Rod and Kevin. I think the Lions are hitting their stride and the other teams should be worried. I do think the Riders are in a must-win, must-need this weekend against the Argos, and I'll be there to cheer them on. Go Riders! Noni, stop in at Western Dodge. Need a new car? Check them out. Tell them the RP Show sent you. Tell all our sponsors the RP Show sent you, including the Mad Greek, Pump Jacks, where, by the way, they are having pre- and post-game parties for the Argos and Riders game on Saturday. I mean, go back and check the tape. I never had any faith that Ottawa was going to turn it around, but I had a lot of faith that the BC Lions were going to turn it around, and that's long before I was out there and had this great relationship with them. I have a belief in what they were doing. And what did I say? Teams that lose early go to work under the hood and tinker. And we were talking about the Raiders the other day, the Las Vegas Raiders. I said every single thing's going to plan now in terms of how many reps Fernando Mendoza is getting in the preseason versus Kirk Cousins, which, by the way, we'll be talking a lot more about this next hour with Jim Lang, but it sounds like Fernando Mendoza is going to start tonight for the Raiders in their preseason finale against San Francisco. But what I'm saying is everything's going according to plan. Where coaches and GMs make their money is when things don't go according to plan. And look at the BC Lions. Hate to say it, but they fired a coach. Hate to say it, but they brought in Lorenzo Malden IV. They changed up some things, and all of a sudden they've won 4 in a row. Was Corey McDermott the problem, the special teams coordinator? Probably not. But I will say this, at their practice on Saturday, Dennis McPhee. I always get his name wrong. It's McPhee, right? Dennis McPhee? Mick something. That guy's got a presence. I will say that. So, well, everybody was laughing at BC at 0-3. I wasn't. And now look what Noni says. Everybody should be worried. There's a lot of good teams in the West is the point. And by the way, with Winnipeg, I'm sitting there looking at the, I'm reading 3downnation.com. I'm not, if I want good CFL information, that's where I'm going. And the media there in Winnipeg was, sounds like 3 Down, was holding Tommy Condell's feet to the fire, the offensive coordinator, about, why aren't you completing deep passes? Why aren't you doing this? And he's like, well, go look at these stats. I'm like, oh, my God. It's the way that it is. Coaches, he's under fire for play calling, for production. I can't see them winning against any other team, maybe. Wayne writes in from BC, says, Labor Day is so important this year. For all the West teams, it'll decide who's on top and who will be fighting for their lives. Well, yeah, but think about it. It's way later in the season than it used to be. Or at least later. I don't know, way later, because we still have, another game before the Labor Day Classic. It's this weekend. Larry in Medicine Hat writes in. He says, it's too bad Arbuckle is holding a clipboard. He should be playing for a team that needs him. He came off the bench. Well, he didn't even come off the bench. He started a Grey Cup and he won it. Can we give the Argos a little credit for having probably the best quarterback room in the Canadian Football League, which Rider fans just clutched their pearls because they love Tommy Stevens so much. But I'm not sure he could start a Grey Cup and win a game if Trevor Harris went down like Nick Arbuckle did. I mean, I love Nick. He's been on this show. He's had his chance to be a starter at times. Now, in that grease fire that is Ottawa was the place that he had his time. Nobody can win there, but not everybody can play. Here's a good one for you. John from Edmonton says, his comment is not, but the offshoot of it is. He says, Rod, realistically, do you think Calgary will ever get a new stadium? They're seriously looking at it right now. Well, consider this. When I was in Calgary last week, I learned a lot. And from people that I trust. I learned how much money the Calgary Flames are making despite their lack of success on the ice. Even when they were bad 20 years ago, or whatever it was, the bad spots they've had. The one legend I'd always heard was the Calgary Flames never lost money, ever. And now, moving into the new rink, ticket prices are high. They've never made more money, the Flames. And they own the football team. So basically, they have they have the resources to build a new stadium if they want. Here's what I'll be interested to see. If you get your new stadium in Calgary, Calgarians, are you going to go? Is that really the reason you're not going to McMahon? You can't tough it out 10 times a year to go to that place? Not that bad as far as you get great weather. Now, the team's last place, I get that. But anyways, my point is what happens first? Be a good poll question. Calgary getting a new football stadium or the Vancouver Canucks winning the Stanley Cup? I'll tell you right now, it's Calgary getting a stadium. I don't think Vancouver's ever going to win a Stanley Cup. I get it, but I don't. I was just in Vancouver. It's a wonderful place. Wonderful place. But the hockey team is hot garbage. Everybody knows it, and nobody in the media wants to touch the Lions because, not that they don't like the Lions, but they feel that all anybody wants to talk about is the Canucks. I'm like, they're the 32nd team in the league. Now, but I get it. It's like the Dolphins in Miami. They're going to win. They're predicted to win one game this year. They've had a horrible preseason, yet that's all anybody talks about, and all the media cares about is the Dolphins. So, I get it. Rich in Edmonton writes in, and he says it was shocking to see the Bombers look like world beaters in the first half and then struggle to even get a first down in the second half last Friday. I appreciate you saying that, Rich. You were there at the game in Edmonton. So I was flying to Vancouver, and I missed the first half, but I watched the second half, got to my hotel room in downtown Van, and I don't know what happened in the first half. What I know was it was a classic CFL ending in the second half. What were we saying earlier? Give Edmonton some credit for their coaching. Not only were there no penalties, that's not easy to do. The Edmonton Elks didn't take one penalty in the game last week. The last team to do that was in 2013. So maybe, because Tommy Condell is getting his nuts roasted about play calling in that game, maybe Edmonton took these things away from them in the second half. I don't know. But for whatever reason, and that's just the way people are, people don't want to give Edmonton credit. I don't know if they'll ever give Edmonton credit. They could win the Grey Cup, and they're not getting any credit now. I think it's because they've just been so bad for so long, nobody thinks about them as a dominant team. But I'll tell you right now, they're dominant. It's kind of similar to Sask. I mean, they're getting all the credit because people love Corey Mace. And even though they've lost a couple of games, they win this one Saturday against Toronto, which we all think they will. There'll be no more heat on Corey Mace. By the way, Chad Kelly all-time 4-0 against the Saskatchewan Roughriders, and he was healthy the last time they came in earlier this summer, and they won. Yeah, I'm with Kevin. He doesn't look – something's not right there with Chad Kelly right now. Him at 100% probably would give him a better chance of winning this game. The Riders are favored by, I think it was 3.5. We do our picks around here for Pump Jacks straight up, and we got the Riders to win. Virginia Eric says, Cody. Well, that was who, somebody wrote in here last week. It was Vancouver Eric and said, thank Cody Fajardo for saving the Edmonton Elkamos. Now, Cody's got God on his side. There's no doubt, but it's more, I respectfully say this, more than God in Cody. It's J.C. Sherritt, the defensive coordinator. It's everybody. It's Ed Hervey. Donald, Navy Don, writes in from Ottawa. He says, is there any chance Calgary Sports Entertainment will divest themselves of the Stampeders? By the way, I'm Van Ryder fan on YouTube. Okay, Navy Don. Can you change that to Navy Don? That would help. Well, here, when I say about reporting things, when I was doing the shows from Calgary at the Grey Eagle Casino, I had reported that I had heard that the Stamps had a buyer. And, oh, my God, it didn't go over well. Nope. And the funny thing was, the Flames called Fan 960 to bitch about me. And Fan 960 said, he's not our guy. Do you want his number? And the Flames were like, no, we're just calling to bitch. I firmly believe that they had a buyer and the sale went south. But that's why I don't understand why this is such a big secret. I really don't know why it's such a big secret. But it is. So that's why everybody's so afraid to talk about it. Anyways, where else were we? I know that like I say, it's summertime. I have zero problem spending an hour on the Canadian Football League right now. That's why you're here. Nobody else is doing it. I won't do it in the winter. We've talked about that. But point one of the quick six was the Blue Jays beating the Royals last night. The heartbeat's still alive. Point two is the CFL Week 13. We got hung up there and stopped. Point three is the NFL. We'll get into that heavily next hour. And Jim Lang will be joining us, Canada's foremost NFL authority and a Raiders fan. Daily poll for EMJ Marketing. We're going to have to update that. I haven't looked at it. Keynote Speaker Bureau, EMJ Marketing. Transform your event with an all-star keynote speaker from our roster at emjmarketing.com. What's Canada's game of the week? I voted for Winnipeg, Montreal, because I can look at it from 30,000 feet and go, that's a really big game. Bombers need it. Montreal can clinch, if you can believe, a home playoff game with a win. And a Hamilton. The Sask-Toronto game, nothing against that. That's going to be a good game, too. It's a really big game. I just think the game in Winnipeg on Friday is bigger. Point four, NHL. A lot of disturbing injury news. We'll finish it all coming back.
Hiring a video company shouldn't be complicated. Click, pay, done. Skycron.com/Regina.
You have a vision, A big idea. But how do you turn ambition into absolute impact? It starts with connection. Booking top-tier speakers and executing seamless events. That's the EMJ difference.
We position your brand where it belongs, Guy, through powerful advertising, strategic media, and promotion that drives results. At EMJ Marketing, we don't just promote, we partner. Your growth, our mission.
This is a test pattern. This is what happens when your video company screws up. You don't want your clients to see a screw-up. Hire a company that only does video, so it won't screw up. Then, people who give you money will see less of these and more of you. Skycron.com/live.
You have a vision, a big idea. But how do you turn ambition into absolute impact? It starts with connection. Booking top-tier speakers and executing seamless events. That's the EMJ difference.
We position your brand where it belongs, Guy, through powerful advertising, strategic media, and promotion that drives results. At EMJ Marketing, we don't just promote, we partner. Your growth, our mission.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Sports fans, daytime sports talk gets a whole lot better weekdays at noon Eastern with the Rod Pedersen Show. Talking sports daily with A-list guests, and the best part is, you can always join the discussion as we're the most interactive talk show on television. Broadcasting from coast to coast from the biggest events like Super Bowl, Stanley Cup Final, Grey Cup, and more, there's nothing like it in the game today. The Rod Pedersen Show, daily at noon Eastern and 10 p.m. Pacific on Game Plus Network.
Hiring a video company shouldn't be complicated. Click, pay, done. Skycron.com/Regina.
How about that?
Hi, everybody. It's what's affectionately known as the Vegas Hour. And in Vegas, it's known as the RP Show Hour, welcoming viewers on Silver State Sports across the Silver State. Hour 2 for those trucking along, watching on Game Plus streaming, listening on podcast, WQVZ Radio. It's your boy RP here. Coming up in the next segment, the guest segment today, Jim Lang will be with us. He is a Raiders fan. That's working out real nicely. It's Raiders game night. How do to everybody that's tuned in that is all excited about the big football game tonight at Allegiant Stadium, the Las Vegas Raiders. We actually open with the National Football League here today. The big story. Actually, there's news today before we talk about tonight's game, the Raiders and the 49ers. Out of Seattle, Leonard Williams is getting paid. The Seattle Seahawks have signed the veteran defensive tackle to a 3-year, $90 million extension. That came down Thursday morning. From Wednesday, the Pro Bowl is no more. And this is interesting. Interesting in that the NFL announced it Wednesday, ending an exhibition of the league's top players that was held in some form or another since 1951. The league said 88 players will still be named as Pro Bowlers and honored in Los Angeles after this season. Several flag football events also will take place at that time. It's interesting. People have, frankly, done nothing but bitch about the Pro Bowl for as long as I've been following the NFL. So now it's gone, and no, I don't see anybody going, oh, no, the Pro Bowl is gone. No, people were ready for it to go. It had become guys playing at half speed. It wasn't entertaining. Nothing was on the line. And to be honest with you, have they not replaced it with the Pro Bowl games the last few years anyways? It's not a big deal. Pro Bowl's done. They They will name Pro Bowl players, as they say, and which they should. And bye. You can't stop progress. And then the other one, speaking of that, the NFL today announced new sports book partnerships with Fanatics, joining DraftKings and FanDuel as official betting operators of the league. The multi-year partnerships provide the sports books with access to official league data, the ability to advertise during games, and I know you all love that, and intellectual property rights for league and team marks and logos. So just so you know, if you go back and watch the Netflix documentary on Jerry Jones and the Cowboys called The Gambler and America's Team, it very poignantly pointed out how in the 90s the NFL had this policy of exclusive deals with their sponsors. For instance, if the NFL was a Coke sponsor, nobody could go with their team and sell a sponsorship to Pepsi. Well, Jerry Jones challenged that, took the NFL to court, and won. And all of a sudden, every soda company sponsors the NFL. Every high-level betting company has it. Jerry took the millionaires to billionaires, and it keeps going, and that's what's come up. No, but that's not nearly as exciting and interesting as what's going on in the field, and why I'm very excited to welcome Jim Lang in the next segment, which, by the way, the guest segment's brought to you by Prairie Panels. Are you building a shop, a barn? Come on, who's not building a barn out there? A rink or a commercial space? Prairie Panels provides high-quality insulated wall and roof panels designed for durability and energy efficiency. Visit their website at prairiepanels.ca or check out their Facebook page and check out their work there, Prairie Panels. Anyways, Jim Lang, Canada's foremost NFL expert, will be here. The coverer of multiple Super Bowls and a self-professed Raiders fan will have some thoughts on what to be watching for tonight at Allegiant Stadium in the Raiders-49ers game. Now, the one thing, you guys got to help me out here, as I sit here and try and keep my mind atop what's happening in the NHL, the CFL, the NFL, and the Blue Jays just can't go away. They just win enough to keep the heartbeat flickering. I'm keeping on top of everything, but today, in prep for this show, because believe it or not, we do some, I was looking at the Score app's projected starting quarterbacks for tonight's preseason games. Now, going back to preseason week 1, I was welded to this. And then I buy DAZN, I'm watching the games. It wasn't even close. So this is who they're saying is starting tonight's games in the NFL preseason. You tell me if you've heard differently. Pittsburgh at Buffalo tonight. Will Howard goes for the Steelers versus Kyle Allen, and it looks like Aaron Rodgers has hardly played at all in the preseason, which I get. He's, 43 now? They won the AFC North last year. They know what they're getting out of him. We're all just ready for this to be over and kick off the regular season. Wouldn't you agree? New England's at Cleveland tonight. Tommy Cutlets going for the Patriots. Tommy DeVito, they say, against Deshaun Watson. And that really wouldn't surprise me, as on Monday, the Browns coach Todd Monken named Deshaun Watson the starting quarterback for week 1. And, by the way, Khalil Carter was right when he was on the air Monday. I know there's a lot of people poo-pooing this, but he's like, the owners are saying we're giving the kid $236 million. Go earn it. I've learned this about the people with the deep pockets. They give you the money, you need to earn it, which is, frankly, a topic for another time that just popped into my mind. I'm not ready for that yet. San Francisco at Las Vegas tonight. Brock Purdy versus Fernando Mendoza. And I feel like we know Clint Kubiak, the coach of the Raiders, has not named a week 1 starter yet. What's Mike Davis been saying since the springtime, our Football Friday analyst? He's been saying that under no circumstances does anybody but Kirk Cousins start in week 1 for the Raiders, but they still haven't named a starting quarterback yet. Will it come down to tonight's play? They're saying Fernando Mendoza starts. And here's the beautiful thing with my baseball season over with, hockey season not starting yet. I'll be able to kick back and watch this game tonight on DAZN. Well worth the money. $24.99 a month. Yeah. That's who they say are starting the game in Las Vegas tonight. And then the Battle of Los Angeles. The Rams versus the Chargers at SoFi Stadium. Ty Simpson going for the Rams versus Justin Herbert for the Chargers. So those are the projected quarterbacks for tonight's games in the National Football League. And it's just nice to be able to sit back and watch some football tonight. Oh, thank you, Jeff the Stamps fan. Regarding the news that I brought, Jeff the Stamps fan says it won't be long before the NHL cancels the All-Star game. For once, you and I agree. Or they'll find some version of it. It hasn't been good for some time, so you're not wrong on that. Cardinal Ryan watching from upstate New York, Saratoga, says, amen. Time to start the NFL regular season. You know, because I got to give these guys and gals making these decisions a lot of credit for changing with the times. And I'm just talking about the NFL. I'm sitting back going, now, can you believe that there was 4 games? 4 preseason games? But think about it. Back in the day when they were doing that, they needed the time for the install. They needed the time for the guys to get into game shape, as they say. Now they're getting their playbooks on an iPad in the spring. They're coming to training camp in shape, and also the spots are picked. They already know who's starting. They already know. So do you know what? You know it's a matter of time? It's till they go to 2 preseason games, which I thought they were doing this year. So it must be next year. Jeff the Stamp says 2 weeks today. What, until the NFL kicks off? I think it's Wednesday they're kicking it off, is it not? The week 1 kickoff of the NFL is a Wednesday for the first time ever this year. Jeff says, biggest mistake the Pro Bowl made was leaving Hawaii. For sure, but the stadiums condemned it now. They had to leave Hawaii. And just the way football's going, it didn't matter where they were playing it. I think the news from Wednesday's inevitable. The Pro Bowl is done. And the CFL doesn't even do it. Rich in Edmonton writes, and he says, the only thing that might keep the NHL All-Star alive is the opportunity it gives the NHL to wine and dine sponsors for a weekend. That's why I'm saying there will be some version of it. But, I mean, it's been a no-hitter forever. As a matter of fact, if you can believe, you can go look it up. I don't have time in front of me right now, but my dear friend Tiger Williams, who said that we were going to get together this summer, but I haven't heard from him. I guess he's waiting for me to call him. Tiger Williams, the all-time penalty minute leader in NHL history, will tell the story. I don't know if it was on this show or sitting around having beers, but he told me the story. He was an all-star. By some twist of fate, Tiger Williams was named an NHL all-star. And the game, he said, was on Long Island, and he come around the net on the right wing. Mike Bossy was coming out from behind the net, and wango! In Uniondale, Tiger Williams laid out Mike Bossy in an all-star game. And that was the end of Tiger Williams ever playing in all-star games and the end of hitting. Right. Okay, Utah Darren says the NFL will go to 2 preseason games when they finally add the 18th regular season game. Right, but I thought that was happening this year. Is it not happening next year? Again, we're trying to keep up on this. We're doing it all together in terms of, we informed viewers yesterday that the NHL is going to an 84-game regular season this year. And again, spending time in Calgary last week, a lot of people aren't necessarily in favor of it. 1:11 Eastern. Love yourself. Focus on you. And let everything else fall into place. And what I mean by that is, be your best self, your happiest self, your healthiest self, your easiest to get along with self, and see how that works. What do you have to lose? Thank you, Carlos in Indiana, for pointing that out. And 1111 Mountain for the live audience. A lot of NFL there. That was point 1, and we're already almost up against it with a break here. I've changed the order of the topics here. The Canadian Hour, which is hour 1, was the Toronto Blue Jays. I'll just say this about, again, they just keep winning, just flickering the heart beat until it'll be snuffed out eventually. But last night, point 2, Toronto's Nathan Lucas hit a 3-run homer and 7 pitchers combined on a 6-hit shutout. That was fun to watch because I do love defensive baseball. Toronto remained 3 games behind Cleveland in the race for the final wild card spot. They shut out the Royals last night. I believe it was 3-0. For whatever reason, it's not in the story here, but welcome to the sports world, sports media in 2026. Rubber match of the game goes Thursday night. The A's are off today for our Vegas viewers. The Quick Six Show topics brought to you by Uniglobe Carefree Travel Group, the preferred travel partner of the RP Show, and the BC Lions. Again, had a great time with them this weekend in Vancouver. We better be careful. I might start cheering for them. When it comes to sports trips, group travel, or your next great getaway, trust the pros who handle every detail so you can enjoy the journey. Contact Neil Chart with Uniglobe Carefree Travel. Less than a month to secure your cabin on the CFLPA Cruise with the Stars, departing the Fort Lauderdale port February 20th. Point 3 is the Canadian Football League. We did the picks last hour with Kevin the Medium. Here's the schedule because there's a lot of Canadians in Vegas that love this show for exactly this. Montreal at Winnipeg Friday. We all got Montreal to win. They can clinch a playoff berth if you can believe. A home playoff game with a win and a Hamilton loss in Calgary Saturday, which will happen. We've got Calgary to beat Hamilton Saturday. In a rematch of the 1997 Grey Cup, the Saskatchewan Roughriders host the Toronto Argonauts Saturday afternoon. We've got the Riders to win, although Chad Kelly, the Argos quarterback, is 4-0 all-time against Sask. That ends this weekend. And then the BC Lions at the Ottawa Redblacks on Sunday. BC, the winners of 4 in a row. Ottawa 0-10, just the 9th team in CFL. They've lost 16 straight games. Ottawa. That's the longest in the league since 1949. And here's one for you. That's the only matchup that's never occurred in Grey Cup history. You know, I like to do my Grey Cup rematches. That's never happened. BC, Ottawa, and it ain't happening this year. The only way Ottawa wins this game Sunday is if BC gets lost on their way to the stadium, and I don't think that's going to happen. That is our CFL schedule. And the picks, we welcome back Pump Jacks Steakhouse and Saloon, Pump Jacks Cathedral, and Pump Jacks Weyburn for another year. Come early and stay late at the place where friends meet, Pump Jacks Steakhouse and Saloon. They have a pre- and post-game party for Saturday's game, Riders and Argos. By the way, the daily poll is for your EMJ Marketing Elite Keynote Speakers Bureau. It's what is Canada's game of the week. I've voted for Montreal at Winnipeg. I think it's winning the poll. Point 4, National Hockey League. The Vancouver Canucks, ho, 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 are prepared to be patient as goalie Thatcher Demko works his way back from undergoing hip surgery in January. That kid's always hurt. They win when he's playing. They lose when he doesn't. Recently signed Oilers goalie Frederik Andersen is among 4 players expected to miss the start of Oilers' season and training camp. After sustaining an injury during offseason training, the Oilers announced Wednesday that Andersen, along with defenseman Alec Regula, forwards Matthias Janmark, and Matt Savoie, are dealing with injuries. I never remember. Is it Savoy or Savoie? It's Savoy, right? I called his games in the dub. I never figured it out. The Oilers, who have struggled to find stability in goal, also have veteran Tristan Jarry and prospect Devin Levi heading into camp. More on that later. The RP Show is brought to you in part by Suds. Sign up for the Rod Squad Sunday newsletter presented by Suds Full Service Car Wash. The 10 Things Caught 'em feature interviews, betting tips, hot takes, and more. Sign up for free at rodpedersen.com. Your vehicle deserves Suds. How we doing on time, Producer Corey? I feel like we're going to be taking a break here shortly. Okay. I'll throw this in here. Man, we're clicking along well. This is point 5. Canada's improbable run at the Little League World Series has come to an end. Taiga Yumatori drove in 3 runs and scored twice as Japan eliminated Canada from the youth baseball tournament with a 7-3 victory on Wednesday. So there was becoming this big groundswell, and then Japan ended it with a 7-3 victory. But the Canadians, they're getting better. I will say this. There's more Canadian kids playing NCAA baseball now than there's ever been. So we're coming. We're coming for you, just like hockey's coming. USA's coming in hockey. Well, actually, I think they're here. Now that I think about it, they're here. Canada's foremost NFL expert and a author of many leather-bound books, Jim Lang, joins us next.
Hiring a video company shouldn't be complicated. Click, pay, done. Skycron.com/Regina.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Sports fans, daytime sports talk gets a whole lot better weekdays at noon Eastern with the Rod Pedersen Show. Talking sports daily with A-list guests, and the best part is you can always join the discussion as we're the most interactive talk show on television. Broadcasting from coast to coast from the biggest events like Super Bowl, Stanley Cup Final, Grey Cup, and more. There's nothing like it in the game today. The Rod Pedersen Show, daily at noon Eastern and 10 p.m. Pacific on Game Plus Network.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
You have a vision, a big idea, but how do you turn ambition into absolute impact? It starts with connection. Booking top-tier speakers and executing seamless events, that's the EMJ difference. We position your brand where it belongs, Guy, through powerful advertising, strategic media, and promotion that drives results. At EMJ Marketing, we don't just promote, we partner. Your growth, our mission.
This is a test pattern. This is what happens when your video company screws up. You don't want your clients to see a screw-up. Hire a company that only does video, so it won't screw up. Then, people who give you money will see less of these and more of you. Skycron.com/live. Hiring a video company shouldn't be complicated. Click, pay, done. Skycron.com/Regina.
Saying it again, our guest spot for Prairie Panels. If you're building a shop, barn, rink, or commercial space, Prairie Panels provides high-quality insulated wall and roof panels. Check them out, prairiepanels.ca. Jim Lang is here. Howdy do, neighbor. It's game day. Raiders-Niners in Vegas tonight, Jimbo. What are you going to be looking for?
Well, I'm just going to be looking to see what Clint Kubiak and how he's managing the roster. I mean, this is such a learning curve. You've got, basically a baby as their top draft quarterback under Kirk Cousins, and Kubiak, who has such a great track record, is teaching. It's teaching the offense to the Raiders. And I heard you leading into it about the beginning of the season. I don't think that Kubiak has any choice. He's got to start Kirk Cousins before he hand it over to Fernando Mendoza. And if you look at their schedule, depending how the Raiders come out of the gate in some of the games they have, you don't want anything to do with Mendoza in October. In October, the Raiders are Chiefs, Patriots, Bills, Rams. That's the last stretch of 4 games you want for a rookie quarterback. But after that, you've got teams like the Jets and the Browns and the Titans and the Cardinals, and those are winnable games. So if I'm Kubiak, I'm definitely Kirk Cousins is getting the first half of the season, sink or swim, whatever. And for Mendoza, it's maybe coming in late in the game, maybe coming in situationally, assuming that Cousins doesn't get hurt. But this is hopefully a quarterback you'll have a next decade. Don't rush him. Don't ruin him. And too many teams have done that. And not everyone can step onto the field of play and be great in the NFL, especially now with what defenses are going to throw at them. This is just preseason. It's all vanilla, this is no big deal. But I mean, if you look at some of the games early in the season, and they're going to be on the road in New England, on the road in LA against the Chargers, they're going to throw the kitchen sink. So if Kubiak, just keep him out of there, keep him on the sideline, let him learn. I mean, unless Kirk Cousins is so god awful against Miami week 1 or gets hurt and they don't have a choice,
Right.
let the kid learn how to play in the NFL and learn his offense. And then when you hand it to him, then you transition. Kirk Cousins is the wily old veteran as insurance backing him up.
I told the viewers that you're an NFL pundit, but longtime Raiders follower. I don't know if you want to say fan. I don't know if you want to go that far. But listen, when you're the worst team in the league, that's when you pick number 1. So that's what they were. But I'm just sensing everybody's getting excited because they got the pieces, Jim. So what are to be a lot better, what are your expectations?
Well, I mean, the addition of Kubiak was a great hire. Let's give Mark Davis and the Raiders front office some credit for getting someone who just come off that great year with Seattle and Mike Macdonald. So they got a coach that a lot of teams are looking at. So you get the first overall pick, a stud quarterback. You get a highly respected coach. You've got to me, an elite level tight end in Brock Bowers. And Max Crosby's still with the team. And I think that's really, really key for the Raiders, that he's still part of the Raiders, the silver and black franchise. And let's give Kubiak a little bit of leeway. There's going to be ups and downs, but they're not going to be the worst team in the league. Cleveland, barring the mother of all miracles, I don't know how Cleveland wins more than 2 games this year. They're so bad going into the season. So the Raiders don't have to worry about that. They just worry about themselves. Worry about getting better every quarter, every week, every play, every practice, and start building towards something. And when you get towards the end of the season and you have games against Tennessee and Arizona and probably a Kansas City team with nothing to play for to wrap up the season, then you're going into the offseason probably on a winning note and building on what you built this year.
Raiders handled there, as you say, Dolphins in week 1, another team that's not supposed to be very good. That's a very sexy matchup for week 1 between 2 bad teams. What else?
It's good for Kubiak.
It's great for Clint Kubiak. Well, and Halfley over in Miami saying the same thing probably. But what else is catching your eye in the preseason?
Well, I mean, right now, you alluded to it. This is just insurance. No one gets hurt. A cut down day is Sunday. So on Sunday, teams in the NFL have to cut down to 53-man roster. So there's approximately 1,600 plus players that will be out of a job come Sunday evening. And then the teams have the right to add them to their practice squad, which is about 16 players in the NFL. So it's all those guys that are basically on the bubble. There's a famous story about Terrell Davis with the Broncos, his last preseason game, returning a kick for a touchdown and then running for a touchdown. And that's how he got a job. And for some of these players, this is their last chance to make a team in the NFL. And whether or not their future takes them to some other league or out of football is really up to them. It's no starter of any significance should probably see the field this last preseason game, because September 9th, September 10th, September 13th is here really soon. And there's already been guys banged up in the camps, non-contact injuries, preseason injuries. It's just the nature of the beast, Rod. So this is oh God, don't get anyone hurt, make our cuts, and then start preparing for week 1. It just get it over with. Because, I mean, you mentioned it earlier. Once upon a time, it was a 14-game regular season. They had 6 preseason games in the NFL and during the 14-game regular season. And in 1978, when the league switched to a 16-game regular season, then they went to 4 preseason games. And much like the NHL now, people realize it's a waste of time. They have mini camps and OTAs, and they're constantly working out. They're in shape. This is not like, old stories of Phil Esposito in the NHL, basically having a good time all summer, and then training camp was to get in shape. That's stuff that happened in the 60s and 70s, and now they're all elite athletes with personal trainers. And so they don't need all those preseason games. And I don't mind them cutting down the preseason, because it's like these last preseason game in the NFL is really, unless you're a family member of one of the players in the bubble, it's not a lot of must-see TV.
Yeah, and I firmly believe a lot of the spots are picked already. I'm at a point now where it's like, why are we doing this?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So do you have a Super Bowl pick by chance?
Well, I tell you, it's less Super Bowl pick and more teams to watch out for this year. I would like people to watch out for the Indianapolis Colts. Their over-under in wins is 7.5. They picked up Sauce Gardner in the offseason. They have the fifth easiest schedule in the NFL. They've got a pancake schedule. I mean, it's really good for them. So I expect them to bounce back. I really like the Detroit Lions. Other than the Bills in week 2, if you look at the Lions schedule to start the first 6, 7 weeks, it's really advantageous for them. The Seattle Seahawks, again, the defense is elite. They just re-signed one of their key pieces to a multi-year deal. Mike McDonald has that team rolling. I mean, I look at the dysfunction of the San Francisco 49ers and some of the other teams in the league, and Seattle's like, okay, whatever. But I'm not just saying this because I'm on with you, Rod. I really, really like to see what the Dallas Cowboys are going to do this year. Their over-under for wins is 9.5. I predict them over 9.5 wins. I think Dallas, barring injury, will be a tough team to play with, and I expect good things. And it just so happens they're in the same division as the Eagles, and those two games against each other are going to be fantastic football.
I can't lie. A lot of us in Cowboys Nation are saying it's different. It feels different. But they said that in Leafs Nation last year, and it wasn't different. But it's like Jerry is shut up, and Jerry's got serious, and Jerry's allocated dollars to defense. Like, it is different.
Yes. And I think that's the key. It's quiet, and they put the money towards positions that were needed. And that's important. And this ties into other stuff going on. If you look at the Leafs last year, their elite star players didn't play, Austin Matthews to that level. The Toronto Blue Jays, my beloved Blue Jays. Vladimir Guerrero Jr. with 7 home runs at this point of the season is a joke. If he's got 20 home runs at this point of the season, they're probably locked into the wild card in the American League. So if the Dallas Cowboys have their star players being productive and putting up the numbers they can offensively, and they've added to the defense, it should be good. I mean, I like the Green Bay Packers, but look at Parsons. He's out to probably week 6. So, if you're the Packers, you're hoping defensively you're not shredded too much the first 5 weeks of the season. And this is the issue for coaches. I mean, if I think about San Francisco, they had the kerfuffle with Shanahan and the accident that wasn't an accident, that was a self-driving car, the owner in a trailer park with a prostitute. I mean, on one hand, you're telling players they have morality clauses in their contract. Go to bed at this time. There's curfew. Be good. Don't do this. And then you have the coach and owner getting caught in these situations. That's a distraction. I'm curious to see what the Rams are going to do and Aaron Donald and how that works out. I'd like to see what Cincinnati and how they, is this going to be a comeback year and a healthy year for their franchise? If they're healthy, and I think, Cincinnati could be a decent team. And I mean, a lot of people are looking at the Pittsburgh Steelers and Aaron Rodgers, if he has anything left in the tank. Whether or not he does will remain to be seen. But he's basically saying this is like, Glory's last shot. And there's a lot of interesting storylines. But I mean, I'm a big fan of Indianapolis. They're home to Baltimore week 1. The Colts start the season with a win against a team like the Ravens. That's going to put them in a really good position. The Buffalo Bills start week 1 in Houston. 2 good teams in the AFC with flaws. And it'll be interesting to see what happens there. And I really like Denver, Kansas City, the first Monday night game, because, I think Denver is better than I think people really realize. And it's all about Patrick Mahomes and his health of his knee and how healthy he is. And it could be scary for other teams in the AFC if he has a physical bounce back year and he's healthy and he can play like, the player that we're used to, that, the Patrick Mahomes of old.
I think we have 7 minutes. I'll shelve the NFL for a second. Come back if we have time. You mentioned Vladdy. I've been watching the games this week, and he's not himself. He's not having fun.
No.
This isn't the Vladdy we know. So what do you think the issue is?
Well, I mean, Bo Bichette's absence hurts, but I mean, I look at other players on that team who are having decent seasons. But to think that a backup catcher like Brandon Valenzuela has more home runs with Vladdy is a mystery. Once upon a time, the late great Roy Halladay, they thought he had a bit of an issue with the game between the ears. They sent him down to A-ball in Dunedin to work on a couple of things, came back, and he became a Hall of Fame caliber pitcher. You've given Vladdy $500 million. That's his contract, $500 million. It's a $500 million contract. That's not to hit 7 home runs. And Rod, I don't know if it's a sports psychologist, if he needs to take a break. Is he hurt? Is he healthy? Um, the Rogers media empire, which runs all media, sports media in Canada now, and the Blue Jays, they're explaining it away and this and that. But for the most part, he's. I mean, if it was New York City or Chicago or some other U.S. baseball markets or Boston, he would be a lot worse, a lot worse. So I think he's getting off easy that he's in Toronto with the kind of performance. But yeah, it's until he starts hitting like Vladdy. I'm like, I get excited every time the Blue Jays win, like they're a little bit closer. But Cleveland doesn't look like they're losing. So unless the Blue Jays go on a 10 of 11 or 11 to 12 game win run here to really get back into it, I just don't know. And for that, Vladimir Guerrero is going to have to hit like an MVP caliber player that he's being paid to be. They gave him all that money because of the numbers he's put up in the past, his playoff run last year, assuming that he will be the great offensive player for the franchise for all those years they're paying him all that money, Rod. So until that changes, it's management, the front office, the players in the bench, they're all kind of like, well, we signed him to the deal, we gave him the money, and so you put him in the lineup every week hoping he's going to snap out of it. And sometimes sports is a funny thing when players get in a slump, or they're feeling it, or they're gripping the bat too tight, or they got the yips with putting on the green. It's a weird thing. And whether it's he needs to take a break, another rehab assignment, or whatever it is, I don't know the answer. I'm not sure they know, because otherwise he wouldn't be sitting in this position towards the end of August, and he has 7 home runs.
They'd have done it. 4 minutes left. FanDuel has the Leafs finishing 5th in the Atlantic Division. That's out of the playoffs. What's your outlook for the Buds?
Well, it's not 5th. It's not out of the playoffs. I'm excited to see some of the changes. And I've always contended that to be a playoff team in the NHL, you need the goaltending. And I still think Sergei Bobrovsky has something left in the tank. And I'm really intrigued. I remember when Eddie Belfour came to Toronto and basically replaced Cujo, and everyone thought he was over the hill and had nothing left in the tank. And after a slow start, picked it up, and they made the playoffs the next 2 years in a row because of Ed Belfour and how good he was. And I think Sergei Bobrovsky, who is a machine in the gym, and it just so happens the Maple Leafs hired his trainer, the same guy that trained Sidney Crosby all those years, Andy O'Brien, is the strength and conditioning coach and trainer. So I'll be interested to see how that happens, and if Austin Matthews has a productive year and some of the additions work out. But to me, if Bobrovsky can give them solid, consistent goaltending, say 45, 50 games, hopefully 50 games, and preserve him for the postseason. Yeah, they should be a playoff team, absolutely.
What did you think when they? What did you? Yeah, right. What did you think when they hired Jim Hiller as coach?
From all the comments we've heard, everyone liked him from his previous stint. I guess it'll be, once the season starts and how it plays out. I think a change had to be made. This is nothing against Craig Berube. I like him, but the message was lost, Rod, if that makes sense. Being a coach now in any sport, to me, you're a sales rep. It's like you're selling the vision of the team on and off the ice. And teams that win, like look at Rod Brind'Amour in Carolina. They bought into Rod Brind'Amour's style of hockey, how he wanted them to be as hockey players on and off the ice, like all in. like Seth Jarvis and Jacob Slavin and all those guys, all in. And that's why they're Stanley Cup champions. And if Hiller can get them to buy into what he's doing, how he wants them to play, they can get good results. But to me, that is the number one most difficult thing for a coach in the NHL or pro sports is getting the players to be convinced that what you're saying or how you want them to play and how you want to be is something they want to be part of. Because we've seen with pro athletes now in those contracts that they decide, yeah, I'm not buying it. They're going to be there long after the coach.
Okay, about a minute with you. Are you hawking books, writing books? What are you doing, Jim?
I'm doing a bit of everything. They're re-releasing Everyday Hockey Heroes Volume 1 in October, just after Thanksgiving. I'm hoping to have the finishing touches on a book that would come out in May. That is NHL related, that I'm not allowed to say what the subject is, but features some really cool people involved in the league, coaches, players, and GMs. So I'm excited about that, and I'm always looking at the next book deal. I just want to just rise up to your level, Rod.
Yeah, right. I don't know what to say to that. I'm always yeah. Huh?
Ladies and gentlemen, in all seriousness, Rod Pedersen. I'm not sure there's a sportscaster in Canada now who can cover and talk about with intelligence and depth every sport, amateur and pro, a Canadian international like Rod Pedersen. I don't know if they exist out there. That's why I always love coming on the show.
I don't know what I owe you, but thank you, Jim. Very nice of you. You're the best, man. I love that guy, Jim Lang. That's why we're longtime friends. Longtime friends. They don't make him better than that guy. We'll be right back on the RP Show.
Ready for a night of rock with the Gene Simmons Band.
You know your man is working hard. He's worth a team.
Saturday, December 5th, Temple Garden Center.
Now.
The Gene Simmons Band performing your favorite classic hits. Tickets on sale now at sasktix.ca. Don't miss the Gene Simmons Band.
Get ready to make unforgettable memories with your little ones at Elmo's Got the Moves, the all-new Sesame Street live show coming to your neighborhood. Friday, December 4th, Temple Garden Center. Tickets on sale now at SaskTix.
You have a vision, a big idea, but how do you turn ambition into absolute impact? It starts with connection, booking top-tier speakers and executing seamless events. That's the EMJ difference.
We position your brand where it belongs, Guy, through powerful advertising, strategic media, and promotion that drives results. At EMJ Marketing, we don't just promote your rebel, we partner. Your growth, our mission.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Sports fans, daytime sports talk gets a whole lot better weekdays at noon Eastern with the Rod Pedersen Show. Talking sports daily with A-list guests, and the best part is, you can always join the discussion as we're the most interactive talk show on television. Broadcasting from coast to coast from the biggest events like Super Bowl, Stanley Cup Final, Grey Cup, and more, there's nothing like it in the game today. The Rod Pedersen Show, daily at noon Eastern and 10 p.m. Pacific on Game Plus Network.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Hiring a video company shouldn't be complicated. Click, pay, done. Skycron.com/Regina.
All right, welcome back, everybody. I was a little caught off guard by those wonderful comments from Jim Lang at the end there, and what a great man. He was one of the first to get kicked in the gut by this crappy business, by Sportsnet back in the day. I'm trying to think of where I met him. I want to say it was around 2003. He was the voice of the Toronto Argonauts for only one season, but we might have worked together before or after that at Sportsnet. I don't remember. He's just a great guy. And doing his thing now, York Region Radio. I apologize, Craig, who's watching at the Hockey Hall of Fame. Craig Campbell, I just love this guy, and I hope he doesn't matter. When you watch the two guys bringing the Stanley Cup out onto the ice every single year, look at I never miss it. It's the highlight of my year. You got the one guy, Phil Pritchard, who's got the hair that looks like Jeff Daniel in Dumb and Dumber. Come on, let's be honest. It looks like a straw. And then you got the other guy, but we're also ensconced looking at Phil. You're not looking at the other guy, Craig Campbell. This is the other guy, Craig Campbell. Phil's handler writes in, and he says, the question of the day is whether Jim Lang signed up to play in the Newmarket Men's Friday Night Hockey League. I didn't even look at the comments until after Jim adjourned. And I apologize. Brent in the Bridge City says, what does Mr. Lang think of the Detroit Lions this year? Jeff the Stamps fan says, Jarrah Jones finally learned at age 85. LOL, same age as my mom. She's not with us anymore, but when I think about Jerry's age, I think, could my mom run an NFL team? Probably. She did work for the Rough Riders for 6 years. Virginia Eric writes, okay, next time. I haven't talked to Jim in a long time. So I hogged up all the time. And I didn't give the viewers that much. My bad. Here is the sports update. The NFL is pulling the plug on the Pro Bowl amid declining interest. Instead, the league will simply name a Pro Bowl team consisting of 88 players and invite them to L.A. for an in-person celebration in February, presumably during Super Bowl week. Sunday's Fever Sky matchup drew 3.3 million viewers on NBC and Peacock, making it the most-watched WNBA regular season game since the league's inaugural weekend back in 1997. And, you know, I find that real interesting. I feel like we could sit and talk about that for hours. There's just not enough hours in the day. I don't follow the NBA largely, let alone the WNBA. And when I did sit down and try and watch it, I didn't like what I saw. But apparently, a lot of people do. So good for them. Carolina Mukova and Jakub Mensik won the U.S. Open Women's Unique Mixed Doubles Tournament on Wednesday, taking home a $1 million grand prize. Not bad for 2 days' work. And Jeannie Buss has petitioned a Los Angeles Superior Court to block her 5 siblings from selling the family's 17.8% stake in the Lakers. Meanwhile, 2 of those siblings, Joey and Jesse, acquired 5% of the Padres. Shohei Ohtani will throw a bullpen session tomorrow, and if all goes well, could start on Sunday against the Tigers, according to Dodgers manager Dave Roberts. The two-way star hasn't pitched since July 3rd due to knee and biceps injuries. The sports update is brought to you by the Ultimate Fan Zone, your authentic MLB fan store for official jerseys, hats, T-shirts, hoodies, and more. Game day every day at UFZ. So, what a fun day today on the RP show. We got one more segment coming back for overtime here. You know what we do there? It's whatever y'all want to talk about. For overtime, Hockey Lanes in Calgary. 902-518-3033. Let's get the text line humming on that. It is interesting. When I like Jim was a pioneer in a lot of ways in his many best-selling books on the Leafs. And, he loves the Leafs. Did you see his face when I said FanDuel has the Leafs picked to miss the playoffs? He's like, take that, FanDuel. It works a lot better when you don't love the teams that you cover. There's no doubt. But in the case of, he's a Southern Ontario guy. I get it. Oh, thank you, Kirk in Toronto. He says, Argos Riders running away with the poll on YouTube. The game of the week, Canada's game of the week, is the poll we do every Wednesday. But we didn't do that this week because we had to honor Dolly Parton. Yeah, and a bunch of stories just flooded my mind, by the way, that we don't have time to get into here, but we can afterwards. Wayne in BC writes in, he says, that was, as usual, a great interview from Jim Lang. He knows the NFL and sports in particular very well. He's a better human being. We'll see you right after this.
This is a test pattern. This is what happens when your video company screws up. You don't want your clients to see a screw up. Hire a company that only does video, so it won't screw up. Then, people who give you money will see less of these and more of you. Skycron.com/live.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Sports fans, daytime sports talk gets a whole lot better weekdays at noon Eastern with the Rod Pedersen Show. Talking sports daily with A-list guests, and the best part is you can always join the discussion as we're the most interactive talk show on television. Broadcasting from coast to coast from the biggest events like Super Bowl, Stanley Cup Final, Grey Cup, and more. There's nothing like it in the game today. The Rod Pedersen Show, daily at noon Eastern and 10 p.m. Pacific on Game Plus Network.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
You have a vision, a big idea, but how do you turn ambition into absolute impact? It starts with connection. Booking top-tier speakers and executing seamless events. That's the EMJ difference. We position your brand where it belongs, Guy, through powerful advertising, strategic media, and promotion that drives results. At EMJ Marketing, we don't just promote, we partner. Your growth, our mission.
Do you worry about how much someone drinks?
Do you feel angry or depressed most of the time? Do you feel neglected or unloved?
Do you feel that if the drinker loved you, she or he would stop drinking?
If you answered yes to any of these questions, you are not alone.
Not everyone trapped by alcohol is an alcoholic.
Families and friends are suffering too.
Al-Anon and
Alateen can help. Call 1-866-200-0223 or visit alanon.org/help.
Looking for a new ride without the big city pressure? Come to Western Dodge in Moose Jaw, where you'll find an unbeatable lineup of Ram trucks, Jeep SUVs, Dodge Muscle, and Chrysler family rides. With knowledgeable staff, great prices, and that friendly Moose Jaw touch, you'll drive away with confidence. Western Dodge. Big selection, small town service. Visit us today or browse online at westerndodge.ca. Here we go with Overtime. Final segment, everybody, for our friends at Overtime Hockey Lanes in Calgary. And don't you all feel now like you know these people when we had Randy from Overtime Hockey Lanes on the air, Randy Krawick, our good friend? That's the whole idea here. I was saying this to Joe the other day, our business manager. You saw, maybe you didn't, you should go follow our Facebook page, all our social media channels, Instagram, Facebook, The Rod Pedersen Show. I put photos of the owners of the companies that sponsor us on there, like Kirby from Suds, and Shannon from Pump Jacks, and Randy from Overtime Hockey Lanes. I have this wonderful opportunity in this second chapter, or third chapter, or whatever it is, whatever Janice called it when she was on here, of my life, and she's going through the same thing in hers, of you're not starting over, you have the benefit of experience. I said to Joe the other day, in retrospect, I would have had the owner of the team that I was broadcasting for on the air once a week. I kind of could tell in his eye every time I had him on the air, he loved it. And I should have had him on more. I didn't have him on as much as I probably should have because I didn't want to bother the guy. But now I realize the owners, they like it. They own the company. Give them the pub. They own the team. Give them the pub. Randy, Overtime Hockey Lanes. We gave him the pub. And they all renewed, so all is great. Brent in the Bridge City writes in, he says, always enjoy your show, Rod. Great, knowledgeable guest chats. Thank you so much. I hope you have a great rest of your day. I plan on it. Thank you, Brent. We will see you back here tomorrow. Thank you for tuning in. Virginia Eric writes in, he says, any news on the CFL updating their website and app? Can I respectfully ask, why are you asking me? Again, I said I would you just put them on the tee, and I'll just like we're in the batting cages here right now, or the shooting lanes, as it were. Like Randy drops those pucks right in front of me. Tink, tink, tink. Ken in Mississauga wrote in here earlier and said, it was very gracious of you to mention 3 Down Nation and Justin Dunk. I'll be honest. What was I saying earlier? I said, when I need CFL news and I need credible information, I need it fast, I go to 3downnation.com. So I don't want to say much more than that. I don't have time or the energy for the muck. Okay? Justin Dunk has his own. Listen, I sat beside him at Darren DuPont's wedding in Palm Springs last November. Justin Dunk and I have been close friends for 15 years. Yeah, they don't mention this show. They don't mention me. It is Canada's foremost football periodical, 3downnation.com. They don't. And I won't talk about, because that was a private conversation between Justin and I. What I will say is I guess I know why. His end. On mine, I don't care. I don't care. I don't have time. Call it what you want. What that says about me, it's where I go for my info. And you just said any news on the CFL website. I have no idea what they do, why they do it. Ask them. I can answer some of your questions. Same guy, Virginia Eric, says, what do you think about David Canales saying Bryce Harper is the franchise quarterback for now? That's the way it is now, more than ever. And it's not really new, but I remember Belichick saying this back in the day. You don't ever make the team. You don't ever really get handed the jacket. That used to be a thing. Welcome to the team. Here's your jacket. That's your jacket today. That's just the way that it is. Remember in January, CFL winter meetings in Calgary, the Ryder GM Jeremy O'Day was asked, is Brett Lather your kicker? The general manager of the team said, he is today. What did I say? Call U-Haul, Brett. Same thing. You've never made the. Bryce Young is the franchise quarterback today. Does that explain that for you? It is. Did I explain it well enough? Is my point. It is a traumatic way to live, and that's what the players are going through. Frankly, that's what the coaches are going through, and that's what a lot of people in the media are going through. I've tried to hint at that throughout the day. I know Jeff the Stamps fan wanted to argue about it. I don't want to argue. I think you've also noticed that. Some people like to argue. I don't. And, I know we're going to be running out of time here right away, but I mentioned the Dolly Parton thing. Virginia Eric gets this. The universe is speaking to you. I will say God is speaking to you, however you want to say it. Somebody said the other day, I'd like to hear you better have a tribute for Dolly Parton. And initially I was like, you know me, well, don't tell me what to do in my show. Well, you're probably right. And when the Humboldt Broncos crash happened, April 6, 2018, on a Friday, somebody sent me a message on that Monday morning and said, really looking forward to what you have to say about that crash on your show today. And I'm like, I didn't plan on saying anything special. No, you need to say something. At that time, as the voice of Saskatchewan sports. And that was a tough day. Frankly, every day since has been better. But the point is, I'm listening. Are you? Like, for instance, Jeff, the Stamps fan, says, Football Friday's up next. And I don't really know. I'm assuming we'll have Mike Davis tomorrow. I know that we will have Kevin the Medium. I haven't checked in with Coach D. Not since Monday when he was watching this show and so many people were enjoying the Khalil Carter interview. That really was great. When I say go check out our social media, what do you got? Are we done? I think we are. What do we got? Okay. We'll finish this more tomorrow. But go follow our social media. Get on Instagram, at The Rod Pedersen Show. The clip of Khalil Carter telling everybody to hire him. All his former teammates are chiming in the comments on that. It's more entertaining than anything I will say. I'll tell you that. Jeff the Stamps fan says, I don't want to argue. Wrong. Thanks to Jim Lang. Thanks to Kevin the Medium from the Hughes Sports Podcast. Thanks to everybody. We're so eternally grateful to be on all the channels that we are on a daily basis. WQVZ, West Central Georgia, Eastern Alabama, Game Plus streaming across Canada, and, of course, here on Silver State Sports. Back for a Football Friday tomorrow. See you then.
That